Welcome, students, as we prepare for another episode of DC Graduates. I'm one of your teachers, your doctor recommended dose of dirtiness, aka your nerd of day, Carlos Rodriguez. And as always, I am joined by my teacher in crime, Sly. Sly, how are you today?
I am realizing. So we just hit maybe about a month ago, we hit our 1 year of recording this podcast.
Yes.
Not of posting. We have a while to get to that. But during our early days of recording, the ongoing bit was I was watching playoff hockey mid-episode.
Yes.
And I have realized now
It's
that
back.
we're getting into the conference finals, I am once again recording these recordings that I schedule during playoff hockey, and this is my cross to bear, I guess. But hi, I'm here. My mood will depend dramatically on how this game goes.
That's how much of a good episode you'll get is if Slide's mood during a playoff hockey season. Next, we want to introduce, because we have a special lecturer today for everyone out there. We know you, but can you introduce yourself to the class and what you do?
I can. I am Matt, aka Stormageddon. I am a podcaster and DJ. I've been podcasting for 13 years. I think I'm going to turn to dust. And DJing for longer, so maybe 15 years. I'm very old and very tired, but excited to be here. Sly and I go way back. Guested on other shows on the network before. And I was saying off air that, Carlos, it's great to interact with you, like sort of in person, because we've been in each other's social media orbit for quite some time. So I'm excited to be on the show. I am a big comic book nerd, though I don't read as many as I used to anymore. And then the stuff you'd know me for, my two podcasts are Fun and Games and Reignite. Fun and Games, quickly, is a topic-based video game podcast with a sub-series focused on specific episodes about specific games, and the host talking about why they love them. And then Reignite is a play-along podcast, started as a Mass Effect podcast, is now a Dragon Age podcast. Then maybe we'll go back to Mass Effect if we ever get another one, but both really fun video game podcasts. And then I guest everywhere on the internet because I'm a podcast guest for, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And famously, our audience will probably know you from our spiritual successor show, because you were on a couple episodes of MC University. So great to have you back now on the DC side of things.
Yeah, well, and also mostly, if anyone didn't turn those episodes off, it was mostly me thirsting for Venom and how much I love him. So, them.
I mean, fair.
So there's that.
Yeah.
That is fair. It's very fair. They're excited about Venom, Who doesn't want 19 inches of Venom in them?
I mean, come on now.
But we are not talking about Venom today. We are talking about the DC side of things, as Sly mentioned. We are talking about 2019's Batman Hush adaptation of Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee's seminal comic arc, which is now, funny enough, us recording, is back in the zeitgeist because Hush 2, the spiritual successor, actually straight up direct successor to this storyline, is happening currently in Batman continuity. So it's very interesting what they're doing. I don't like what they're doing with Jason Todd. I get weird vibes. Sly, I know you're not up to date. I'm just saying. There's rumors he might be a villain at the end of this, like a full-blown villain. I don't like it. I don't like it.
A bold choice.
That's a
for
bold
people
choice.
To make.
Exactly.
We'll talk about how I feel about villains and their portrayals when we get into the episode proper, because I have feelings.
Absolutely. But this episode, again, is 2019's Batman Hush, directed by Justin Copeland, written by Ernie Altbacker. Studio, as always, is WB Animation, and stars Jason O'Mara again, Jennifer Morrison, who I've had the pleasure to meet in real life. Very lovely woman.
Incredible performance.
Yeah, she does. She really kills it. Jeffrey Arnett, James Garrett, Peyton List. I said that on purpose because there are two actors by the name of Peyton List in this movie. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, swear to God. That's why I didn't put that in trivia. Sean Mayer, Maury Sterling, Bruce Thomas, and many other famous and wonderful actors. And I stuck to the Bat family mainly for our stars, but like Jerry O'Connell's in there, a bunch of people in there. My little inside joke, as always, in this is that it's not streaming anywhere because fuck David Zaslav. So it's streaming on the island of Laughtail. If you know, you know.
Famously, I still don't know, and
I don't either.
Will know.
I laughed because I too have never watched an episode of One Piece, live action or animated.
Hell yeah!
But the last
listen.
episode of this I listened to, you made the same joke, and so I laughed because it's the same joke.
Listen, I am. If not, I understand Jehovah's Witnesses now, because I get it. When it comes to One Piece, I get it now. I've been indoctrinated. I will gladly indoctrinate anybody else to watch 1,000+ episodes of a show. It really gets in the groove of episode 200.
I have to go on a quick tangent.
Yeah,
because I did Google Paint and List because I was like, that's a Disney Channel star, right?
Yeah.
And then I saw the other Paint and List, and I've also seen her face somewhere. I don't know where.
Yeah.
She was in 911 Lone Star.
Yeah, there you go. It's these goddamn shows.
All right.
They just loop each other. If it's not DC Graduates, it's We'll Throw the After Party. Like it's one or the other.
Yeah.
It's a god damn it.
Pop culture is just an Ouroboros eating its own tail. Like,
exactly. All right. So as customary, when we have a guest, we defer to them for our plot recap and comic book characters. So Storm, if you don't mind, if you can give us the plot recap.
I'm happy to. Batman Hush is a thrilling mystery of action, intrigue, and deception based on the New York Times bestseller of the same name, penned by Joseph Loeb, Batman: The Long Halloween, and is illustrated by comics superstar Jim Lee, All-Star Batman, Robin, and Robin the Wonder Boy. Batman sets out to discover the identity of a mysterious mastermind using the Joker, Riddler, Ra's al Ghul, and the Dark Knight's other enemies. I'm going to take Ra's al Ghul again because I totally screwed up that name that I shouldn't have. And also, isn't it Ra's al Ghul? I can never remember.
We do this all the time.
We've had this debate before on the podcast.
So you may have to keep.
I say Ra's. Carlos says Ra's. So either one is okay.
So you may have to keep all this in now that I've brought up that argument again. But anyway, identify a mysterious mastermind using the Joker, Riddler, and Ra's al Ghul, and the Dark Knight's other enemies and allies as pawns in plan to wreak havoc. And that plot recap was provided by Daryl Bryan. And then the comic characters in this film is Batman, Catwoman, Robin, Lady Shiva, Riddler, Scarecrow, Alfred, Bane, Batgirl, Poison Ivy, Nightwing, Superman, Lois Lane, the Joker, Thomas Elliot, Gordon, and of course Harley Quinn.
Yeah, quite a. It's like everybody they can get in. It's like, how many rogues can we spare right now? Did we kill anybody in Suicide Squad? Hell to play? Nah, we can use these villains. All right, cool. We'll do that. And before we get into our next segment, I wanna point out like a disservice that we got is Babs is barely in this movie. Like,
but okay, why was Babs in this movie? Is my first question.
Because she was an Easter egg like 3 episodes ago, and they had to do it. They had to put her back in. They're like, oh yeah, fuck, we forgot we introduced her in this universe, and we're about to kill it off. Yeah, fine, she'll get 5 minutes. Who cares? Everyone gets 5 minutes in this show. Who cares? Who cares at this point? But that's my little tangent. Let's go into the Andrea Romano roundup as we shout out our voice director queen herself, Andrea Romano. We'll start with the section. Oh my god, subtext on the first one just kicked in for me. I was looking over. I was like, yeah, we're gonna talk about that too, I guess. We'll start with the second section of the roundup, which is adapting a story, what it takes to adapt a story and make it original. And off air, we were also talking about how many people don't like the story, so I think it's a good time to bring it up now. We've all read the story. I like it. How does everyone else feel?
I'm a fan. I really like Hush. Yeah.
I liked it. I didn't remember a lot of it. I remembered broad strokes. I remembered the whole Clayface Jason thing because it comes up often in fanfics. We know who I am. But as I started this movie, I was like, wait a minute, I should reread this real quick. So I did borrow it from my public library. We love a library. So I do have a copy right here with me. I think somebody else also has a copy right now.
I have my original print copy, which I didn't reread because I reread. I thought it was a while ago, but now looking, like I thumbed through it this afternoon, and I think I reread it a few years ago. But yeah, I mean, this was a gift from my friend John. Shout out John Sanders, a former co-host of mine on a podcast that no longer goes anymore. But we had been recording and we'd talk about Batman a lot over the course of the movies that have been coming out. And he's like, "Oh, have you read Hush?" And I went, "What's Hush?" And he's like, "Oh, well, that won't stand." And like a week later, brought me his copy and then said, "This is yours. Read it." And I devoured it. And I'm notoriously a slow reader, probably some of the undiagnosed ADD. And so like novels I read really slow, but even comics sometimes I get stumbled on. I read comics one of two ways. I either blow through it, can't put it down, or it takes me like a month to read one comic because it's how my brain is wired.
Relatable.
Yeah.
But I loved this story. I thought it was great. I thought it was interesting. It gave me a vibe of the animated series on some level, and we'll talk about that when we get to the movie. But like there are like small gags and then like character traits that just like resonated with me as someone who grew up watching the Bruce Timm animated series. So yeah. I've always been a fan of this, and I'm always surprised when people don't like it. I guess I know that a lot of folks don't like you either love or hate Joseph Loeb on some level.
So
I think that's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had one major gripe with the book of it, that the movie actually resolved, so no issues there with that. But I was kind of shocked to hear people didn't like this because in like my circles of like big nerds who have like a surface level like understanding of a lot of different pieces of like nerd culture, like this is one of the Batman arcs that people talk about. It's great. It's iconic. It's like, I don't know. You said it, Carlos. It's a seminal like Batman story. And so, yeah, I just hadn't experienced anybody disliking it. So that was a little bit of a surprise to me.
I have to agree with Storm. I feel like it's retroactively like because people don't like Jeff Loeb now for any reason. Like I feel like it's retroactively people don't like this book. Because I don't and it's this book specifically. I think because this one takes a lot of like broad strokes, a lot of like bigger like swings than something, let's say, like he does with Superman for All Seasons or Spider-Man Blue or anything like that. Whereas like kind of low down, chill, like very slow pace or anything like that. This is like boom, 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 like action, action, action. And a lot of like crazy things, right? You get a lot of crazy fights. You get Batman versus Superman, which people want, and it wasn't a novelty as it is now. It's like used all the time.
Yeah.
Like it was special when it happened in Hush. You get something like that. You get like most of the Rose Gallery gets used in one way, shape, or form in this storyline. I think it was at the time. I swear I don't remember anyone complaining about it.
Yeah, same.
Maybe like
also
like,
before the nerds come for me. I know I said Joseph Loeb. I meant Jeff Loeb. Don't come for me. I got the name wrong.
They will. They will. The same.
They
They're
will.
the same people
will.
who don't like him. It's one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but you better get his name right.
Yeah, if you go talk shit, you go talk shit, right? But it's interesting. I think it was ever since he left the comic book sphere, right? And he went into and he did Heroes on NBC, where I think the hate started coming out of nowhere. And then I think he did Tomorrow stuff, am I right? After that for a little bit, and then came back into the DC fold. But it was like, and he did some DC television as well, but it was like that was it. Like it was like he kind of had some misses, which happens when you're a creative for how long he's been a creative for. I think maybe back in the day when it was just comic books, it was a little more forgiving. Like when he was doing Batman Superman, which we covered before, on this show with Apocalypse and World's Finest. Not World's Finest, I'm sorry. World's Most Wanted. Is that the one? Sly, do you remember that one? With President Luthor and everyone's got like bigger bodies and everything. I forget the Public Enemies. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Public Enemies. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like those stories, I think a lot of people were more forgiving, but I think once he made Heroes for NBC, I think that's when it started tanking down, which that takes a lot of swings and misses, that series. I like it as much as, anyone at that time liked it, but that does have a lot of swings and misses. But I don't know. I don't hate the guy. But like I'm excited that he's writing, Hush 2 right now. What's currently going on. I'm interested to see. I don't like if the rumors are true about our special boy Jason Todd. If that happens, I don't know if I like that. I don't think they can stick that landing. I don't want to put that genie back in the bottle, per se.
Yeah, I don't think that works the other way around. Although I'm not going to assume everyone who's listening has played the Arkham franchise, though I love them. I'm obsessive about them. But there is something to do with Jason Todd in Arkham Knight that I thought was done really well, actually. Whereas a lot of people were like, "Oh, it was so obvious, it was dumb." I was like, "It's a comic book. Who cares?"
Yeah.
Like, like the writing doesn't have to be like the masterpieces, but like it's clever, and they did a clever thing anyway. But yeah, I'm curious about Hush 2. I didn't realize it was going on now. I know there was also Return of Hush, which I read, which I didn't love, but that wasn't really a sequel. It was like a side, like something. I don't remember now. But I was saying offline also, like speaking of adaptation, I loved how Hush was used in Arkham City. It was an interesting mission that revealed to be attached to the Hush narrative. And I don't want to spoil it for folks who haven't played it because I think the reveal is still kind of fun. But
it hits. It hits really.
Yeah. And so I like this character. I think it's an interesting character. I like when the characters are as smart as Batman, right? Like being stronger than Batman, faster than Batman. Who cares? He can figure out a way than that. But when people can like out detective the detective, that's always fun. And those are some of my favorite stories.
Or like scare him, right? Like we talked about this in Batman versus Robin when it was the adaptation of Quarter Owls, and that whole segment where he's stuck in the catacombs and he's just losing his mind. In the comics works. I mean, the movie was like, but in the comics it works so well. Like that's what it sold me. Like there's New 52 rebrand and everything where they were doing in this universe. That's when it clicked for me. I was like, oh, they're doing some stuff with Batman that they haven't done ever. Like I've never seen him scared, like that. Like that's crazy. I'm in. But I think the Hush character works really well. Obviously, we can talk full spoilers. If you didn't watch the movie, watch it. What do you do? Watch the movie.
Yeah, go watch it.
Come back.
Or you could listen without
you can
watching.
listen to this. Yeah,
I support that energy. I think the storyline, both in the comic and the movie, does a lot of really interesting thing with villains in general, because we have such a gallery of villains who are being manipulated and they don't quite know what's fully going on. The one issue that I kind of alluded to earlier is we all know how I feel about my boy Waylon Jones, and I didn't love how the book kind of so many people often go with the like mindless monster eating humans, like not a thought behind those eyes interpretation of Killer Croc, which is like fine, whatever. But I really love when we get an interesting take on Waylon. And I love that character so much that I hate the interpretation of him. So that was a little disappointing to remember rereading. But I really enjoyed the movie changing that to Bane, because Bane already kind of established in this universe. We've alluded to him a lot. And he's just like such a good candidate for a villain who can kind of be easily manipulated, and you can really lead into like, what is this venom doing to his mind and his body? And I think the way they adapted that for a movie version in this universe, I think that felt really, really well. I do just love villains sometimes. Like, I fucking hate Lady Shiva. She's such a good villain. She's the worst. Every time she's on my screen, I'm like, I fucking hate you. You're so evil.
She might be the worst mom in DC.
Yeah.
She doesn't even get the title of mom. She was like, giver of life, and that's it. And horribly traumatizing your spawn. Whatever. Anyways, not the episode to talk about that. But it's really interesting to see like how they play with Ivy in this. And we could talk about the end reveal that I know we have strong feelings about. But I think this storyline does such a good job of highlighting what makes villains interesting, and I love some of what we got of that, and some of what we got of that were some choices. I do, however, like, I don't like how they got to the Riddler of it all, but I do love that they used Riddler for that role.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an
bit of a
interesting way.
dichotomy for me.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting pull, right? Because Riddler is integral to the comic as well in a very different way.
Very different way, yeah.
But I do like that he like, because it's funny if you watch like the old Adam West TV show or the cartoons, Riddler was like a prominent, like a top tier villain, but in the comics he never really was. And so like it's fun that the language around him here is like they're like in universe they're acknowledging villain, and I love that. I really do like that though, because it just stuff like that would just make the Riddler more angry. But like I like, and I agree about the Bane thing. I think Bane walks a fine line. I'm still hurt by Batman and Robin. Like Bane is not a muscle-bound moron. He's a genius. But the Venom does hamper that. But what I do love here is that like they acknowledge early that he is a brute because of he's using a different kind of venom. Something has messed him up.
Something that's altering his perception.
And like they put a throwaway line where Batman goes, "Something's not right." Like Bane is usually not like this. And so I do appreciate that. I was a little bummed that I mean, I have to double check who voiced him, but like he's often portrayed Hispanic in a lot of modern media, and I think it was a
white guy.
And so like
it's usually a white guy.
And that bums me out. Like I love like how some of the cartoons and like the video games all they keep that heritage as part of the character, whereas like he's gotten whitewashed in a bunch of stuff also, which bums me out. But I agree broadly that I think the villains were all portrayed pretty well. Like broadly, I think it's the minutia that kind of really upset me.
He's Costa Rican, Jamaican, and Cherokee.
Oh,
crazy!
Yeah.
Mix.
Okay, we'll take it.
Hell yeah.
But like, I think that broadly, I think the villains were portrayed in it. Like I said earlier, they gave like an animated series kind of vibe. But I do also agree that it's not the like the minutia of it. It doesn't feel as good, like especially in certain moments with certain characters, and then the whole ending, which I hate, which didn't ruin the movie for me, but I hate the ending.
Let's talk about the Tommy Elliott.
Yeah,
because like,
how do you guys feel about the reveal compared to the comic? You know,
I mean, I hate it. I hate it. I don't know. So for me, for those who haven't watched the movie, in case you're here and just said screw the spoilers, I want to be here. The reveal at the end is like, so in the comics, there's always the subterfuge that like Tom Elliott dies. There's this assumption that he's gone, but the reveal is that Hush is Elliot, that he wants revenge for what happened to his family. He thinks Bruce has it too good. He wants to prove that he's better than Bruce, and the Riddler helps him to like establish himself, and like it's really brilliantly done. It's not perfect, but I think it's done really well. In this, Tom Elliott also dies. He's established early on, and then it's revealed later that actually Hush is the Riddler. He had a brain tumor, and when Thomas Elliott couldn't remove it, and told him to get his affairs in order, the Riddler went and used the Lazarus Pit, became sort of immortal, killed Thomas Elliott, and set up the Joker to look like he killed Thomas Elliott, and then is Hush in the end, and has this giant question mark shaped scar on his forehead. And like, I will say the reveal is interesting. It's not like it's such a bizarre take that like there's something to it, but I just don't like it. I feel like the reason I like this villain is because he's Bruce's childhood friend. And like I love that kind of relationship, right? Like the reason the Joker I think sticks for so long is because they basically have a bizarre friendship at this point, right? Like they rely on each other, and like so there was some of that in Hush and Thomas Elliott
relationship.
Correct,
Yeah.
and like I'm bummed that this movie just kind of robs of it. I think because it's supposed to be a one-off, and basically this lineage that they hadn't made over a couple of movies was ending with this one. Like they wanted it to be finite because we're not going to get another Hush movie unless they remake it. But I was just kind of like, it just felt like a downer. Like I think the whole climax is still good. It's entertaining. Like I was entertained by the movie the whole time, but it's such a gut punch to like remove that reveal. I was bummed me out.
Yeah, my thing is like I get how they got to that conclusion. Right. Like we don't have the time to sit with this character, to get to know him, to have an emotional impact when we lose him, to see these like flashbacks to Bruce's childhood with him, and Bruce putting together all these pieces in the way he learned like strategy from this childhood friend that then applies to him figuring out like who Hush is and all of these things. I get that like we do not have time for that in is this a 75 or a 90-minute movie? A tight 90. Okay. Yeah. We don't have like the time to establish that, and if you don't think you can do it well, don't. I'm glad they didn't like try to do it and it go horribly. However, it doesn't feel like, if you don't think you can do that reveal, like, that's the whole point of Hush as a run. Why did you choose to adapt this storyline is my question. I think it's a great film on its own. I don't think it's a particularly good adaptation in regards to the ending. I don't think you can get that same emotional punch and the same like moment of impact with your audience of them putting together all the pieces when it's just, hey, this is the Riddler, I'm going to tell you my entire backstory of how we got here. And I love the Riddler as a character. I love how he was portrayed in this. I just didn't like the choice was to change the like emotional climax of the movie to something completely different.
Yeah, it turned like this like what you can have to, I guess, equated to like Anakin and Obi-Wan, right? At the end, like screaming at each other, and like you have this emotion because you've seen them throughout their lives grow together and all this stuff. You don't get that in this movie. You don't get any of that. You do get somebody who now Batman has to adapt and like combat him in a now physical, which he's never been used to for Riddler. He's like, oh no, I can fight this dude, no problem. I got no, it's gonna be easy. He's like buffed up now for no reason. And he has to fight him intellectually. It makes it interesting. I thought it was interesting to do the switch because it was like surprise for surprise sake. At the moment when it happened, I was like, oh shit, this is very surprising. Like I don't know if I like this, but I'm in. Let's keep going. And then as I sat with it, like the hours passed today, I was like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel because like I do like the Riddler. I do like that in general, but it would have been cool if he was, hey, I've been manipulating Tommy. Like, that's how good I am. I've been manipulating Tommy to do all this stuff against you and all this shit. Like now you have to fight your best friend and all this other stuff. Like, and I win and all. And maybe he's fighting, Catwoman, so she's not just stuck, trying to get herself out of this like situation. Not that she's like a damsel in distress at the end. She does help herself out and do all this other stuff. And
I did appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do like help that she
gets to be confident.
Yeah, she helps Batman at the end of the fight and everything. But it would have been cool to have, hey, these two heroes now have two villains they have to fight simultaneously. It would have been cool. You could have got like a cool emotional payoff from that. What I don't like, and it made me immediately think of this, was the question mark scar on his head.
So dumb. It's just so dumb.
And so bad.
I immediately thought of Bullseye.
Also. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, in the Ben Affleck movie where he has the like mark on his forehead. Yeah. An otherwise excellent portrayal of Bullseye, but like that, Well, so here's the thing. Like, while I do hate this reveal, I do like that this reveal did eke in one of my favorite comic book villains, which is Clayface. I love Clayface irrationally. Like, so the episode of the animated series featuring him is probably one of the best comic book stories I think ever. I love the version of him in the Arkham games, and this version we didn't get a long time with him, but it was fun. He was the monster, he was the brute, he just wanted to kill them and almost does. And like, it gave us a really great scene between Joker and Batman also in Arkham, which I really liked. Like the petty, like underappreciated wife kind of trope, but with the Joker, which I thought was fun. Like,
I did like that.
This reveal did lead to some fun stuff, but I just think, and I think also part of it is a shorthand. We'll get more into this when we talk about the Catwoman of it all, but letting the Riddler die at the end is a bigger deal if you know Batman than if you've never read Batman and have no idea who Hush is or who Thomas Elliot is, other than us telling them. Like letting Catwoman letting the Riddler die, and then Batman like that whole, because that scene is basically ripped from the comics. I feel like that does have more impact with it being a known villain versus some guy. But again, I think it still feels kind of unearned because of where I know the source material goes. And I try not to be that person who's like, oh, the source material is better. Like, we can have different versions. Again, I go to bat for all three of the Venom movies. They are some of the best adaptations, I think, of Venom ever, and I will fight people in the parking lot. Like, I just love those movies. But like, but I think there has to be room for like if you're going to do something different, make it really different. The problem is that we spend 90% of this movie thinking it's the same story. They keep using Tommy Elliott. Like,
yeah, that was the issue with
what
it.
pisses me off about the ending, and then I will acquiesce and get off my soapbox, is they lay the groundwork for us to think it's Tommy Elliott when Bruce has the accident and he's in the hospital and Thomas did the surgery and he's walking out. He gets this like evil look on his face as he walks towards camera. That didn't. What was that? It didn't mean anything because he wasn't anybody.
Does he just he has resting bitch face? Like, what is that with that?
Yeah, it's just like they really laid the groundwork of like, oh, do you like the comics? Well, we're gonna fuck with you. That's the only purpose that moment served, and it that's why it bums me out. Like, it's not. We had a smart idea. Like, we wanted to set up Tommy Elliott as a red herring if you already know the story, and if you don't, then it won't mean anything.
Yeah.
And Tommy's whole backstory, you know,
for twisting.
Yeah, Tommy's whole backstory is very interesting. You know, like wanting to be so much like Bruce that he kills his family. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
Like he just wants to be Bruce so bad that he does all of this stuff and then making his face like it and everything. That would have been such a cool reveal if he like took the the bandages off and you had like this kind of freshly scarred up version of Bruce and it was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, yeah, I stole your face. You know, like that stuff is so campy but so perfectly Batman, and that's what we need in this. And you know, it is weird because he is such an interesting character. And Matt, as you mentioned, like if anyone's played Arkham City, I would love for anyone to comment or send us like a tweet or anything, because that reveal, that whole mission is so unexpected in that game, because they're already just playing with so many different things when you're playing that game, and then get that reveal and then start going down that storyline, you know, those side quests and everything to end up with that fight. It's like, I expect this already meaty ass game to have a Hush storyline, and a good one at that.
Yeah.
A great adaptation of that storyline. I think, yeah, it is weird that it's not Tommy Lee. One thing I did like with Riddler, you know, kind of playing his like main villain card and all this other stuff. I did like when he gets scared by the body of Tommy for a second. He has a second where he's gonna run and it stops and then like places him down, which I guess at the end it doesn't matter. Places his body down respectfully on the ground. Like, I'll come back for this. No, you won't. Because he is ash. He is just a charred up body. It's just a goddamn shame for this man who's done nothing in the storyline. He's not even a bad guy. He's nothing. There's nothing to Tommy Elliott
at all. No, like it's like I said, the character served as a red herring for comic book fans, and that's it. And that's why it makes me angry, because it just reduced a interesting villain to a prop.
Yeah.
He was a prop in this whole movie, and like we didn't even get any sort of humanizing him because they took out my girl Leslie Tompkins.
Yes.
From the opera scene. And he's just there with like some generic date, and he's like not a factor in that entire scene at all, which I get for time, whatever, but like this character is literally just a prop to be a gotcha for the people who do the storyline. And this is what, 2019? This is like ripe in the era of people adapting things and feeling like they need to surprise the people who know the source material. And so like it very much feels like a product of those like late 2010s, which is unfortunate. I don't think it holds up the same.
Sometimes you get something good, like in Walking Dead, where you get Shane not dying, you know, in those early issues or those early episodes, and then you get him like for a whole other season where you're like, what? Well, from now on, everything's gonna change because this is awesome in Walking Dead. But then you get the other effect in Walking Dead where you get Carl dying. And it's like, obviously, with the book's not done yet, but he's obviously going to be the main character, right? Like, I know Robert Kirkman's writing, he's going to be the main character. Right? This is my little soapbox on Walking Dead, sorry. But, like, we all know he's going to be the main. For anybody
who hasn't seen it.
The fucking random ass, goddamn show, Like, he's obviously going to be the main, like, guy, right? It makes sense. Like, no? Okay, fucking whatever then. And then you get to the series and you're like, oh, guess who's the main character? Motherfucker. God damn it, AMC, you suck. But anyway, that's what it felt like. And you know what? The leaps in logic are really weird too, because where does Riddler get his training? Like, why can't he hold his own against Batman?
So they explain it away with a throwaway line about the Lazarus Pit empowering you, but then it's also starting to wear off. Like, and it's funny, like people listening might think that I hated this, and I really didn't. I thought it was actually pretty entertaining from start to finish. I just
critical of the things we like.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
I think it's more that after the fact, after enjoying it, I went, well, okay, but I have these caveats, and like just to throw some positivity at it. Jason O'Mara is probably one of the best Batmans. Like, no one will ever dethrone Kevin Conroy. Love him, rest in peace. Like one of the best Batman, full stop. But Jason O'Mara does such a good job here, and I've always liked Jason. I liked him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's been in a bunch of stuff since. Like, he's a solid actor, but as Batman and as Bruce, it's Bruce that really did it for me. Batman, he's good. I feel like it's easier to be a good Batman. I'm Batman, right?
Yeah.
Lots of folks can do that. But the scenes with him and Selena, like he adds so much dimension to Bruce, which is harder to do. And he did such a great job. And this is one of, especially in the movies, I think one of my favorite portrayals of Batman. I think he's just pretty solid from start to finish in this film.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he's really one of the linchpins in the DC AMU. Obviously, we get a lot of Batman in this universe, which I don't want to necessarily complain. It's just when you watch, this is the 14th movie in this series, and so out of 16 movies, he's like in like most of them, like at least 80% of them. It's like, hey, I like Jason O'Mara's Batman. I like Batman. That's a lot of Batman. Can we take it back on Batman?
Totally.
But it is refreshing when you get like, okay, we're at least gonna adapt, Hush. Okay, I'm in now. Like, let's do that. And at the tail end of this, like this DC AMU, it's like, well, what do we do now? Like, well, let's adapt Hush. Let's adapt the death and rebirth of Superman. Let's adapt, half George, Perez / half Greg Rucka run of Wonder Woman. Like, there's a little amalgamation of that. Let's do that at the end of this. It's like, cool. Like, what after that? It's like, yeah, we're just gonna reboot the universe. It's like, okay, so like your Quarter Owl's like storyline was okay. Again, he's good in it, but it's like the adaptation was like,
Again, my hot take is it's not a Court of Owls.
Honestly, no, it really
I don't
isn't.
think it counts as Court of Owls. But yeah,
Gotham does a better job.
Speaking of fighting people in parking lots, I do want to talk about the Bat family of this all. Obviously, we don't get Huntress. We instead get Babs, who has been teased
once.
So it's so little. We got 2 seconds with her, and then like half a minute in this, which
like why? I love Batgirl. I love Batgirl. I do. I really love Batgirl.
Like, yeah.
But like the Huntress serves a purpose in the original book, has some moments with like, and has a relationship with Selena and Batman. So like I just removing the Huntress and putting in Batgirl for one scene, it just makes no sense. It's just so weird. Like, I don't get it.
So far past like Killing Joke at this point. The like,
don't even get me started.
Why are we erasing Oracle? Like, why do you keep reverting all of your disabled characters back to their able body form? Anyways, Babs is here because she got teased for 2 seconds in a post-credit scene earlier. She's here. It's fine. I missed Oracle throughout this storyline so deeply. It's whatever. But I do. We got to talk about the Robins of it all because of who I am as a person, and we know in this universe, it's Dick and it's Damian, and that's it. However, in this movie specifically, they kept the line from the Joker alluding to Jason Todd, and they keep the Clayface Hush Jason outfit, meaning, this is my conspiracy, Jason did exist in this universe. He did die. We just never see him on screen, and that is my 13th reason. But poor Tim Drake just gets fully yeeted out of this entire universe.
Does not exist.
That's
no
a goddamn
mention,
shame.
no illusion, does not exist.
It's queer erasure.
By
That's what it is.
erasure.
Get by erasure.
Exactly.
Okay,
Sure
DC, how dare you?
Hate crime.
It's a hate
crime. Indeed. Anyways,
I thought that
Nick
too,
was
though.
great at this.
Yeah, I
loved him and
He was
Selena.
awesome. Yeah. I put one of my notes here was like he's so happy about possibly having a stepmom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're close in age. Like, they're not that far off. Same thing with him and Bruce. Like, they're not that far off.
Yeah.
I love Dick in this because he like this is the protege that we've seen teased in other stuff, and like I think like I believe that this Dick Grayson grew up as Robin and is now Nightwing. Like it doesn't always feel that way. The other most stellar version, of course, is the animated series version because we got to watch him grow up in that show. But like I immediately understood like the scene when they're driving together and talking about relationship advice and stuff, and like I love that. It just feels so normal. We love the Bat Family. The reason we have comics about the Bat Family now, the reason we have shows about the Bat Family now, is because people care about that dynamic. And incredible creators on social media have been doing skits about those characters for ages. And like, I think what's really fun about comics is when you take something extremely normal and apply it to a unnormal situation. And so like the Bat Family, Deadpool and Wolverine's relationship, other things, right? Like I think when you try and normalize extraordinary circumstances, it becomes immediately funny. And that's the thing, like pointing out Nightwing, this wasn't afraid to be low key and funny. And I appreciate that also.
Yeah. What's he called? Brucelina?
The Dick we've gotten.
Brucelina, yeah.
The Dick we've gotten in this universe, as we're wrapping up, our coverage of the DC AMU, it's been so fascinating because we haven't got a lot of Dick, but every time we get him, he is done exceptionally well. And I think back to Justice League versus Teen Titans, where he's not in that much, but we get a very great look at an older Dick who has gone off on his own, established this younger team, and has now moved on from that team and is like fully entering like his mid-20s, like flirty and thriving. He has a great relationship with Bruce now that he doesn't have to like live under him as his ward. Like I don't know if any other people experience this, but like moving out after living with your parents makes your relationship so much better.
Most times, yeah.
And you see that in Dick and Bruce, and what we get of Dick in this is just so perfect for like what we've seen built up in this universe. And again, they use him very sparingly, but every time they do, it just hits so well. And so I loved seeing him in this and how they used him. It was brilliant.
Yeah, he has his rebirth suit, which is a big thing now because that's been established. Like they're done with the New 52, so now we have the rebirth stuff. Superman has his rebirth suit. Dick has his rebirth suit, and then we get a suit change for Batman, which is really, I mean, obviously that's the Hush suit that we all know and love, but it was very refreshing.
The concussion suit.
Yeah, the concussion suit. Thank God. I saw it and I saw the blue. I was like, oh, finally, some other color.
I also love how sarcastic Alfred is in this. Like I there have been some, like, I don't mind the fatherly versions of Alfred, who's more sensitive and like, but like whenever Alfred is sarcastic and a pain in the ass, it's my favorite because he won't put, like, I love when he won't put up with Bruce's bullshit. It's my favorite stuff. And like, or when he's snarky, and his portrayal in this was great as well. Like still the older, like kind of up there in years version of Alfred, but still capable and still sarcastic as hell. And really loved his performance in that. Yeah, he's an actor.
Yeah. You really get
also,
that.
and we haven't mentioned it yet, but like Selina's performance in this, Catwoman's like just one of the probably one of the best Catwomans I think ever. Like I really like it. She's so dynamic. She has great lines, which of course, again, a lot of that comes from the comic, but like the way she's portrayed, the whole ending scene, like the reason I think I came away liking this movie is because even though I hated the reveal, the final scene, which is basically the same as in the comic about Bruce and Catwoman's relationship and how they, like, she realizes he's the crazy one after planting the seed that he thought she was the crazy one. Like, I love that. And the way she recognizes the compulsion, like that whole final scene, the performance was so great that it basically mind wiped why I was angry like 10 minutes before.
Same. That final discussion on the beach was
that
great.
Dynamic.
Yeah. Actually, I think this is a good time to kind of switch topics and move on to Batman and Catwoman, a romance made in Gotham. That's what I called it. It's a great, like, I was really believing their relationship, beginning, middle, end of it. I think they did a really good job. And I think that is partially due because of Jennifer Morrison's performance in this. She is somebody who I don't think gets enough credit, acting wise. Every time I see her on screen, it's like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And then she really does like knock it out the park. Those first 7 minutes of Star Trek, J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, is so memorable for both Chris Hemsworth and her performances as, the parents of James T. Kirk. Her portrayal in House, I think she did a really good job in that series. Once Upon a Time as well, I think she was really good for that campy ass show. Like, I think she knows what to do acting wise, and you put her in that situation, she's like, I got it, I'm gonna knock it out the park. And her as Selena, when I saw it at first, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, you always get like these a lot of people who typically play femme fatales will play Selena or voice Selena, right? We have Elijah Dushku, where you can believe Elijah Dushku, who's played Faith, being the rough and tumble year one version of Selena, and then New 52 or 90s esque Selena in that short. But Jennifer Morrison has this like air of her acting wise, and you see she's very like demure, very like understanding, and she is perfect as Selena. She is very rough around the edges. She like admits that she doesn't really fit into this like society that Gotham has, as higher end society, but she goes to these parties, she does all these things. She's still a little wild and crazy though, which Bruce likes. And she is what I love when it comes to these major superheroes, right, and their loved ones and their significant others, is that she puts him on edge. He's always like, he's immediately caught off guard by Selena, more so than Talia or any other femme fatale that Bruce likes to do whatever he does with, but with Selena, he has this special relationship where she throws him off, she catches him off guard, and he's more vulnerable around her. And I think she brought that acting wise. Like, I think she really brought that when it came to her scenes there. She was very believable too. Like, you could tell she truly cared for Bruce and for Batman. Like, it wasn't this is a fun thing. This, like, it may have been fun at one point, but now it is like, hey, I think I want this to be serious, and I'm changing for you. And she says that to him. And we have the reels like, when she reveals that he's the Batman is Bruce, you see everything like click together for her, and she's like, oh, okay. She's not upset. She's like, okay, like, this is the world they live, right? Like, superheroes and tights and craziness that happens. She accepts it fully, quickly, and then they have a little fun afterwards. What do you guys think about her performance?
I mean, I think you're right. I think everything you said is accurate. There are two scenes that really sell it for me. It's the identity reveal scene where Batman reveals he's Bruce, and then it's the breakfast scene when they're at the at the mansion and talking about going on vacation. Like, again, when you can take characters like this, superheroes and supervillains, and put them in a very benign scene, it becomes entertaining and interesting. But also, like, you watch the switch flip, and I like, we don't get a lot of time with this relationship, right? This movie is short. It's only 90 minutes, but all the time they're on screen, the chemistry is so strong that you believe it in every moment. And it's the two of them that really sell it. And I think her especially, like you were saying, Carlos, the whole scene where he reveals her identity and she kind of, like, you watch the gears turn and it clicks, and then she's like, oh, okay, I see where this is. And then even the scene post fun when they're in bed talking about, like, he thought she was a kleptomaniac. She thought she was just had a mental disorder, and that's why she was doing this, not because she wanted to, and how she kind of takes it personally, but he apologizes. Like, it's just such a real scene. It feels so real. And it's absolutely their performances that sell it for sure.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing with this relationship in this version specifically is, like, you really see how Bruce is kind of the crazy one, and Selena's kind of the one that you, like, understand where she's coming from. Like, she's making the logical choices in all of these situations. Like, if you put me in that world of Gotham, like, Batman's no kill rule is, like, actively causing more harm than it is saving people. And for her to be like, oh, this is like a compulsion, like, you have to follow this rule because you will break if you don't. And you're not doing this because it is what's good or what is right. It's because it's what you need. I think that is a point that was really hammered home very well in this. I will say, like, one thing that makes their relationship in the movie compared to the book very interesting to me is the scar reveal being not him, like, on his deathbed in the cave, and it being, like, post-coitus is so interesting that, like, how the setting of that changes their dynamics so much.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. Yeah, she knows the back scars, which is like an homage to what was it Alex Ross's like famous like paintings and drawings of Bruce, you know, showing his back scars, like as he's getting the bat suit on. And then she sees the front, and then they kind of have this. I mean, what can only be described as like a cute moment between these two because it's comic books and it only works for Batman and Catwoman. This kind of oddly cute moment of like, oh, I had to get my Kevlar, you know, reinforced because of you and all this stuff. It was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I just got my retractable claws, and it's like, you're right, sir. Like you get these beautiful, like very mundane, very just normal relationship moments with these extraordinary characters, and it really works. It fits, and that's why one of my favorite storylines recently was the lead up to, you know, the wedding of Batman and Catwoman, which unfortunately we don't get a great payoff if you're not up to date with comics. But Tom King was writing this amazing storyline where they were leading up to that. He was, you know, the Bat family was slowly, you know, hey, are we on board with this? Like, I know you've tried it in the past. Like, is this gonna be a thing? Like Nightwing's checking in on him, Babs is checking in on, you know, Damian's checking in on him. Which we kind of get a little bit of here, which we'll talk about in drama class. And then you also get, you know, Superman. And one of my favorite comics in most recent years is a Superman issue where Superman and Lois go on a double date with Bruce and Selena because Bruce is like really opening himself up. He's like, really, if I'm gonna let you in, if I'm really gonna do this, like have you be part of my world, then you really got to be part of my world. So who's my best friend? Who's like a brother to me? Clark. I need you to be around Clark. And like Lois is like gung ho. She's down. She's like, I don't care. Let's do this, all this stuff.
Lois
and they
is down for everything.
Exactly. She's an army brat, man. Come on. Like she's the best reporter in all the DC universe. Come on. She's down for whatever happens. She dates basically a god who's in a farm boy body, you know? Like, so they have this cute exchange where they have to wear costumes for whatever reason. They had to switch costumes. It's very funny. So Clark is wearing Bruce's, and he has his glasses on the outside, which is stupid. Bruce is wearing the Superman suit, and then, you know, Lois. It's just this beautiful moment. You know, Lois and Selena are complimenting each other, and like Lois is like, I don't know if I can wear this after having a kid, and all. She's like, you got it, girl. Don't worry about it. But it's like these very normal moments that these extraordinary people have that really sell and really help you read comics. And it's one of my biggest gripes. I've mentioned this on many episodes when we cover Batman and his relationships. I hate this, at least makes it acceptable that they're not together at the end, but I hate when like comics do this thing of like, hey, these heroes can't be with somebody. They have to date or just be alone. It's like, no, man. Like when they rebooted the New 52 and Lois and Clark weren't together, and it took them however many years retcon all that shit. I was like, why do that in the first place?
3/4 of the way through the season or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why are we doing this? Like, it's so frustrating to see stuff like that. And then Bruce is like,
I will say though, I loved what we got from Lois and Clark in the planet scene. And
perfect.
They made the joke about Bruce owning the planet because he doesn't in this universe yet.
Yeah.
And just the way they interact with each other and humanizing these like superhuman characters is always done really well. I do have to go on a quick tangent though, because I did just remember that because Lex is not the president in this universe, they did rob me of seeing Talia.
Yeah,
that's right.
That did break my heart a little bit. I love my girl Talia.
Talia's dead, right? So,
quote unquote.
I know.
Is she though? Because we never saw a body, so I don't believe it.
That's fair. That's very fair. But yeah, I never understood, you know, comic books and a lot of comic book media not allowing your protagonist to live somewhat of a normal life. You know, whether it be, hey, Batman is not gonna have a normal wedding. He's not gonna have a normal quote unquote life. But yeah, let him have a life with Selina. Let him rely on each
Batman
other.
has like 8 kids. Let him have a family.
Exactly. Let him be happy in this aspect, and then torment him every other way. Be like, hey, you gotta fight a new supervillain, like whatever. Like, okay, cool. I will come here for the story. More attachments
mean more people you can traumatize him by kidnapping.
Exactly. Same thing with, I always talk about Peter. We can't get a Peter storyline in main continuity with him and MJ, or him and like a resurrected Gwen or something. God damn, let the boy be happy. You had to go to alternate universes to see that, It's still like, just let your heroes be happy. And I tell you, like, there's gonna be people who are gonna come and read. They're so worried about catching this like young male-centric audience in comic books that like, oh, I don't want my heroes to have relationships and stuff. Like, fuck you, dude. Are you kidding me? Like, that was one of the most things that humanized Superman to me growing up, is like having, seeing so many Superman media, and then having the adventures of Superman, Lois and Clark, like with Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain growing up. I was like, oh, wow, this is awesome. And they did something the comics didn't do at the time. They got married. They did all this other stuff with them before the comics did.
It's why the new show worked so well too. Like in the post years when he's basically getting ready to retire. Like, I think showing a healthy relationship and showing healthy relationships in extraordinary circumstances are really interesting and well done. Like, it's a problem I've been having with Marvel for a while. I think it's why I like the Thunderbolts so much. I know this is the DC show, but like the Thunderbolts deals with really
talk about the Thunderbolts.
Like, that movie dealt with real issues and real people and relationships in a way that Marvel hasn't wanted to do in several movies. And so I was so excited, and I loved that movie so much. I think same thing, like, there are a lot of reasons why Snyder's stuff didn't work, and not to poo-poo on Snyder. There's so many other reasons, but like the reason the Justice League doesn't work, the reason that Batman vs Superman doesn't work, is because the way they use relationships as twists, like the Martha thing, has been talked to death. But like, the real problem with that moment is not that they share a mother who with they both have mothers with the same name. It's that it's played for like a quick moment, a quick beat with no real development. I think that what has me excited about James Gunn's Superman is that there are a lot of characters, but it looks like there's also going to be a lot of relationships, and exploring relationships and understanding these characters. In the newest trailer alone, when we see Lois interviewing Clark as Superman, knows that, like, already knows who he is. And like, so they're at that point in their relationship one way or another, whether they're dating or just friends or whatever. Like, that relationship stuff is what I want to see. It's done so well. It's why the Guardians movies are basically perfect.
Interpersonal stuff.
Correct. Like, the Guardians movies succeeded because they were interpersonal. The third one's hard to watch, especially if you're squeamish, but like, the relationship stuff is what makes those movies sing. And I agree with you, Carlos. I think more stuff needs it. Why I loved all the Jonathan Kent stuff, and like, in the recent issues of Superman, and like, I think there needs to be more of it. And like, part of the problem is, like you said, a male-centric audience just wants action. Like, I don't know anybody who just like, it's like the people who complain about Godzilla not having enough monster fighting. You never watched a Godzilla movie then, because the old Godzilla movies are about the relationships between the humans, what Godzilla represents, not smashing buildings. Like, there is smashing buildings, but that's not the focus, right? So tell me you're a Godzilla fan without telling me you're not a Godzilla fan. It's the same thing with superhero movies. I think the action and the over-the-top stuff is important, but the down-to-earth moments, like this relationship between Selina and Bruce, is what it's why I think I like this movie so much. It gave it a backbone that when I got to a bum reveal at the end and I was like, this sucks, I immediately forgot it, because the relationship came back and we got to see the resolution of that. And like, that's, I think, the strength of this story and stories like it when they explore that.
Yeah, I mean, even thinking about to the 90s with the Tim Burton universe, right? I mean, with Keaton's Batman, Vicky Vale, and that, like, that was a big selling point for me. And I was 2, when I first like watched that movie, and then some subsequent years, I'm like, I like this stuff. Like, I like Bruce kind of like being weird, like a weird billionaire that happens also to be Batman, and Vicky Vale doing this whole thing. I loved, Batman Forever gets a lot of flack, but I love the interpersonality between Val Kilmer's Bruce and,
unironically,
Nicole Kidman's Meridian Chase. Like, I like that, and him trying to figure out, Bruce figuring out, am I the mask? Is Batman the mask? Who is, who's what? And also taking this warden that's Dick Grayson, and like all this stuff in his life interpersonally is just going crazy. And he's also finding his love with, Meridian Chase, and she also happens to be a psychiatrist. And it's like a whole ball of wax that like it's awesome and fun, and it's like messy, and it's throws Bruce on his edge. I think it's really fun to see that stuff. Where this storyline, at least, and we've talked about it quite a few times, but like it ends with a resolution, and we're like, hey, we're not going to be together, but maybe down the line we could. But
yeah,
it makes sense. This is like one of the ones I'm not complaining about, but there's so many storylines where they don't allow him. Like, why isn't right now in current continuity Batman and Catwoman married? Why? Why did you lead up so far and then DC backed out at the last second? And they're catering to a vocal minority.
Cowards.
Exactly.
They're
a
cowards.
lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's just a vocal minority of these alpha, like quote unquote alpha males who like, I don't want to see relationships and stuff. But they'll be the first people to watch like whatever romance anime and not tell anybody about it. Like that's the dichotomy there. Like when you see people, and like every great storyline has some kind of relationship, whether that be like a brotherly sister relationship and it's done really well, or like I just need something there, man. I just need something there instead of this lonely Bruce.
The 2022 Poison Ivy run. Do it. Don't be a coward.
Exactly. Yeah, you get so much good
Chock
stuff.
Full of relationships.
Hell yeah. God forbid though, they do anything queer centric in comic books as well. Because look at Harley and Poison Ivy. Again, that's something they will never pull the trigger on. Yes, no, yes, no. Yeah, they flip flop all the time. It's like, what audience are they catering to? Like, it doesn't matter. Write the story. Just write the story. Because the audience will find you.
Hire people you trust. Let them tell the stories they want to tell, and then figure out how to tie it together in the greater continuity. Like that's how we got these iconic storylines that we see adapted again and again and again. They hired writers that they trusted to write a story that interested them, and we got these iconic runs out of it. Just I fear we are in this age where art for creative sake is being so seen as like reductive, and we're in such a capital hellscape dominating all of our art creation that like, will this sell should not be your first question. It should be, is this a good story? Like, where are our good stories?
Not to make this about video games, because God forbid I do a podcast without mentioning a goddamn video game. But like the reason
you're on the wrong channel if they don't want video game content.
like everyone's trying to nail down why Clair Obscura Expedition 33 is so great, and there are a lot of reasons. But the real reason is because they were a smaller studio. That they were more than 30 people. They had a lot of contractors, but like a core group of 30 making decisions that a giant corporation wouldn't let them. And they made it a weird, fun, funny, and dramatic story that might be one of my new favorite RPGs of all time. I haven't finished it yet. I'm close, but like it's because they just let them do it. There's no, microtransactions. There's no what's the shelf life. Like what kills me about the Suicide Squad video game, of which I've watched a bunch of the cutscenes. I own it. I got it for free. I haven't played it yet, and I will, because I love that team, even if this game is garbage. But like the rumor is they wanted to make this kind of game. It wasn't the studio, it was them. But even still, it's like you take great characters and great story and put it in a format that doesn't work because you're trying to acquiesce or like mold into what's popular. If you're trying to match what's popular now, you've already lost, because it won't be popular by the time the thing you made came out, unless you're an indie studio making a game in 3 weeks, right? And even then. And so like I agree so much, and I think the reason that so many people are resonating with Clair Obscura is because there's just no story like it. They're taking risks that no other story will take, and like everyone I know who posts about finishing each act of that game was just like, oh man, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah,
and like
that was me with Act 1. I was like, I was heartbroken. Like I walked away. Like if no spoilers, but like I literally walked away. I was like, I don't know what to do with this because you set me up on this emotional.
I cannot wait for you to get to Act 3, because the end of Act 2 is even a bigger question mark for different reasons. And like, without spoilers, I just like that's what I want, right? I think the reason this takes me back like to the Riddler thing, the reason the Riddler thing sucks, I think, is because while it gets a big reaction out of long-term Batman fans, it then immediately doesn't make sense for anyone watching this movie. I think
it doesn't make sense in the context of the universe they've already established.
Correct. And like I think that just letting people tell good stories is how we get some of the best stuff. But we do live in a capitalist society, and so making money, like, it's the struggle, right? Art can't exist without money, and vice versa.
But if you tell a story people will be passionate about, they will spend money on it. I just spent over $100 on merch for 1,000 times with this.
Let's go.
And
we saw
I
that
don't
live.
even own a vinyl, like a record player. Like
that soundtrack slaps. So
I bought 3 records for a game without owning a record player because I like the game so much. Like people will spend money if you put out art that resonates with them.
Yeah.
And this was the story that resonated with a lot of people. And they made a lot of changes because they were confined to existing inside the dcamu. And I understand that. But also, like, was this the right story to tell in this universe? Is a question that I had while watching this film, because we are watching this in such a confined way for this podcast. We are like tackling these like universes and examining all of these movies in relationship to each other, and like just like they did with doing the whole quote unquote Court of Owls adaptation. Like, that didn't fit the universe. Why are you adapting that story? I would love a really good Court of Owls, like, animated movie. It just doesn't work in the universe they had. So we got a really subpar, like, not even close to... Like, they were, like, using the set dressing of Court of Owls, but not doing anything relevant with the story. And we got much more of the story of Hush in this one. But, yeah, I think I have so many questions of like, why was this the storyline you chose to? This is the third to last movie of this universe. Like, we'll get the Tomorrowverse very soon after this, but why is this the note like we're ending on for Batman? Like, we'll probably see him in Justice League Dark, I'm assuming, because he was in the first Justice League Dark for whatever reason. But it's just an interesting choice to me, and I think the true answer of all of this is simply capitalism. And if we haven't lost all of our audience already, we have now.
Yeah, correct.
No, it's truly that's as well why we always start our podcast by saying "fuck David's ass off," because again,
correct.
You would think with capitalism, this movie would be on Max. It's not.
Yeah.
Before we move on to our next segment, have anything they wanted to shout out specifically in the movie? Any notes you want to get to?
One of my favorite scenes is when Superman catches Lois, break the spell.
Yes.
And like, boy, did I have an interesting night. Yeah, me too. And then she reaches to his lips and pulls off the green lipstick. And he's like, I blacked out for that moment. She's like, you better have. Like, it's just like, in seconds, their relationship, and it's like, it's just perfect. Like, so I love, like, this movie is filled with little moments like that, which are some of my favorites. We'll talk more about it in a minute, but like the Damian Wayne is in one scene, and it's possibly the best scene in the entire movie.
Shout out to Stuart Allen. That's his name, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, shout out to his agent, because he's like third build in all of these movies that he has less than like 2 minutes of screen time in. I don't know how they negotiated that, but good for you, my friend.
Yeah, totally.
I agree. My note for Superman catching Lois was, and that whole scene with the lipstick was, I was like, I feel like Ivy would have to be more scared of Lois more so than Selena or Bruce at this moment.
Oh, correct. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say a shout out to Hot Waller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waller was smoking hot. That's my favorite way to have a villain.
And having Vanessa Williams again voicing her, I was like, damn.
Killer.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Another RIP to Tim in this entire universe. Not even the hint of illusion to you, unfortunate.
No existence for that one.
No.
There was one line read from Dick that was so fucking beautiful, when Selena asks who Damian is, and he's just like his
Like it's so millennial coded in the best way, like complimentary and derogatory. Like it's so good.
At the same time.
Yeah,
It's like,
so good.
you don't know about him. Yeah,
Like
you gotta.
because
you have a
I've
kid
done
now.
that. I've done that. Dick in that moment went, "Oh, I'm saying a thing I probably shouldn't be saying." Too late.
And
like,
too late. It's already coming out.
And I've had that exact same thought process and reacted the same way. Like, "Oh no, I'm saying something. Well, we're here. I guess let's finish the thought."
Yeah.
I think my last two quick thoughts were Scarecrow's design in this was
So
a
good.
look.
That was cool.
I want so many cosplays of that.
So
it was
good.
incredible. And again, I love the Riddler so much. I specifically love the Batman, the 2004 animated series version of Riddler. I do fear they made my boy a little too OP in this universe. Oh, another thing. Sorry. I have to air this grievance before we get to our next section. Another problem I have with the book of this storyline is it canonizes my least favorite contradiction in comic books of whether or not the Lazarus Pit can revive you from dead.
Yeah.
Because in the comic, it can. In the movie, it cannot. Which was an interesting flip-flop.
In the movie, it can just heal you or like help, like give you a limited cure, which is fine. Yeah.
Interpretation.
You gotta be mostly dead.
Look, the Lazarus Pit,
rules.
like Ra's al Ghul, is a contradiction in itself and will never have an answer.
Is it magic? Is it not magic? You know, who
oh
cares?
my god.
Yeah. God forbid.
Who cares?
Matt, did you have anything you wanted to shout out? Anything else?
Clayface, we mentioned briefly, but there's a moment where we reveal that like Batman cuts Riddler's throat in the interrogation room.
Shocking.
We all,
I was like, holy shit.
So shocking. And then you see it's brown. And I'm like, wait, why is it brown? Oh man, here comes my boy. And Clayface just rises up and then whoops their ass for like 10 minutes and like I said, gave us the best scene of like Batman being pinned against the wall, slowly smothered by Clayface, and next to Joker's cell where Joker complains like an ignored wife. It's the best. It's just so well written. The banter is so good. And like Batman doesn't
wife.
Right. And Batman doesn't even break stride, like is just still fighting for his life. And this Clayface design was very similar to my favorite, which is the Batman the Animated Series Clayface. There is small tangent. I gave away a lot of my toys from when I was a kid. I regret it. Like I had a lot of really cool action figures that were in pretty good condition. Gave them away, donated, whatever. There's one action figure I never acquired. Have looked everywhere. It's always expensive, but there is a version of Clayface from the animated series where he shoots like a little spike ball. It's like spring loaded. It's just one of the coolest toys from when I was a kid. Who knows if it's actually cool? But like I've never found it anywhere. And so I love that design and I love that toy. So now it's out in the universe. Maybe someone finds it. But I loved this design of Clayface. It's basically a play on that version. It's a little bigger. And so I love that whole scene. I thought it was great. Like the way he just engulfs like Commissioner Gordon and Commissioner Gordon's about to die. Like it just like was so brutal, that whole scene. So I want to shout that out. It's probably my favorite Clayface scene in quite some time.
Yeah, that was really good. Man, I said it to you. It's $35.
Wow. All right. Well, maybe I'm finally gonna own this toy I've always wanted.
There you go.
It used to be like, I mean, also the collecting scene is wacky, and some days things will be $300, and the next day they'll be $20. So
yeah, exactly. So I'm waiting for like an original copy of Earthbound to be like $10 randomly. So I'm like, I got it now. I know it's never gonna happen. And it's not even for me. It's for my wife. For me, one of the things that stuck out to me, it was a random question that it was bugging me the whole episode or the whole movie, was how much do you think Bane weighs when he venoms up?
I mean, tons, right?
It has to be like at least a ton, right? Like he goes from like an average, like probably like 250 built, like pure muscle, 0%, and then when he venoms up, he's like he gets so big, and I'm like, how much he weighs, man? Because Bruce is like constantly fighting this dude,
throwing him around, tripping him,
Yeah, he can't like just pick him up. So it's like, shit, this sucks. And I said this before on our show. My favorite thought in my headcanon is every time he sees Bane, he's like, fuck, I'm gonna have a broken rib. Like that's it. Like that's his initial thought.
He knows he's gonna get his ass kicked. He's still gonna win, but like
I'm gonna win, but
thrown around.
something's breaking on my way out. Like it's not gonna be great. There's so many sexual innuendos from Ivy.
So many.
God damn.
It.
Yeah,
So
you know what? It's just her. I just love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels so perfectly her.
We love a horny movie.
Yeah.
Oh, horny is my favorite.
We had so much fun with Batman and Harley Quinn. We had Mario on for that one.
Holy
that was a
shit,
very horny movie.
Yes, it is.
Also, I put here the New Jersey boy came out of Bruce when he was fighting Clark in the sewers. He had the fucking brass knuckles, the kryptonite knuckles. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, that is
so good.
New Jersey as hell. Like, do you got a kryptonite bat as well? You just go pull him out of a trunk of a car. Jesus Christ. Is this Casino all over again? God damn. That's what I thought. Also love Clark. I put here, I was like, Clark, kind of gives Bruce some shit, for Lois falling out of the sky. Or then Bruce gives, Selena shit and then they kiss or whatever. I put it here, I was like, I like to think that Clark looked back, saw them kiss, and just smiled. Just like, oh, he's happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. Don't try to kill my girlfriend. But yeah, I'm happy for you. All right. So moving on, we are going to drama class, one of my favorite sections. Holdover for NC University. We brought it here. We got 3 great scenes. Matt, since you're our guest, you can choose the scene you want to start off with and the character.
I would like to do the middle scene and be Bruce.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Do you want to be Damien on this one?
Yes, I want to be Damien.
I know. I knew it. Yeah.
Carlos, do you want to be Titus for his one line?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Right. Hello, Damien. Titus.
Pennyworth tells me you're romantically involved with a criminal now.
Ex-criminal, Damien, and it's only a date.
There are no ex-criminals, Father. Only ones who aren't breaking the law at the moment.
Wolf.
He's not like that anymore. Damien,
Look, I understand. This never-ending mission of ours is a lonely endeavor. If this trollop provides some carnal release, so be it.
Trollop? Your slang skills need work.
But I needed to bring up your past poor choices in women, including, but not limited to, my mother.
Damien, I'm not...
Not that I'm ungrateful being here, mind you. However, I must insist that you use protection. And another thing, cover your drink.
Goodbye, Damien.
God, I love it. It's so goddamn good. I love that the team behind the movie was like, all right, Damien's not in this storyline at all. How can we incorporate him though? And they did it in the best possible way.
And continue to make him as unhinged as he always is.
Yes.
And this is my favorite version of Damien. Like,
I love it.
I have strong feelings about Damien because I don't have much canonical experience with him. And again, my only interaction with this character is via fan fiction, which is the perfect version of Damien, in my opinion. Yeah. So I have strong feelings how they portray him throughout this universe. But this was perfection. No notes. Yeah. This is exactly what I want from Damien.
So good. It's just such a good scene. I laughed out loud. I was not expecting it. It caught me out completely off guard.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Thus lives the never-ending trend of DC posting clips on their official account of movies right around the time we record.
Dude, it's so weird. It's so like happenstance. So I always say this, like if you're on DC social, whether it be TikTok, YouTube, we're not giving them a shout out, whatever. I mean, if they want to sponsor us, by all means, I will do it. But I'm not above selling my soul. But every time, if you pay attention to their TikToks and shorts or whatever scene you'll see that week is typically the scene of a movie we're covering. It's so fucking weird how it's placed that way. Or it's like a 2 week spot.
How did you get access to my spreadsheet? The world will never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
Exactly. Give us Jeff Loeb. Let me talk to Jeff Loeb real quick. If you
if
you're gonna take data from us, let me take data from you then. Come on. All right. Next, let's do the first one. If anyone doesn't mind, I'll be Batman for this one because I really like this line. Who wants to be Catwoman?
I'll do Catwoman.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
But this is Superman.
Yes. And if he wanted, we'd be dead already. Deep down, he's a good person. And deep down, I'm not.
No, he is not.
No, I love that. I love
that about him.
Yeah, I do love that. Like whenever Bruce has the opportunity to point out like who's doing it right, and he knows he's not, but he's still trying his best. Like, but he knows he's not a good person. Like, that self-awareness wasn't always in Batman, but I'm so glad it is because it makes the character better.
Yeah, I think it does too. I think it just shows like with age he's come to like understand like his position. And I do like where they show a lot of times Batman and Superman being adversarial. Like he truly deep down like loves and trusts Clark on a whole other level compared to the rest of the league, and vice versa. Like they have this like unknown trust that with each other. And then God forbid you add Diana to that, the Trinity. They like work like I know Sly. I know where you're going with that one. All right. I see the fan fiction turning.
They better be a Trinity. That's what I'm talking about. Cowards.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Finally on my side.
It's an Eiffel Tower. If
you rewatch Justice League Unlimited or Justice League,
Jail you specifically.
Oh, absolutely. You see
that was my like introduction. That was foundational text for me as a child.
You're like my game.
Like, jail you.
Wait a minute.
We all need to go the route of Leverage Redemption and take the subtext and just make it text, because that's my favorite thing about Leverage Redemption is that the thruple is just text in that show. That's the best, and like just make it text. But yeah, no, I'm with you. Like,
if you want any Leverage fan fiction, I do have some very good Leverage fan fiction I could send you.
Okay, not surprised by that as well. Yeah, listen, even Marvel for a certain time kind of like played around with it, was like it's canon, like Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean Grey. The rooms were right there, next to each other.
Absolutely.
Come on.
I'm just glad that they
Mario
also.
and I talked about that.
I'm glad they canonized Nightcrawler and Wolverine also, which made me so happy. And like I know that the MCU won't do it, but I really want it. Just one Alan Cummings, Hugh Jackman scene, the two of them.
Yes.
Like it would be perfect.
Oh my God, just playing off each other? Jesus Christ, that would be the best.
Perfect.
Damn it. I don't know.
Right, I would love to be Catwoman for our last one.
Matt, do you want to be Batman?
Yeah, I'll do Batman.
Okay. You're absolutely insane. He killed your friend. Tried to kill Nightwing. Hell, he almost killed me, and you're sorry he's dead?
I had to try. If someone can be saved, I have to try.
You do, don't you? It's a compulsion. You and your goddamn code. And you'll die because of it. You know this, right? Will that make it all better?
Without a code, I'm no better than them. Which, like, it's funny because the Batman code is, it's right? Like, the difference between him and the insane villains is that he won't kill. But it does also eventually become a hindrance, right? You think about the Joker. Every time he's gotten out and killed more people, right?
He's killed hundreds of thousands of people because you refused to put him down.
Right.
That's on you, buddy.
Right. And, like, we're not, like, advocating for killing and murder aside. It's just in this comic, in this world, there's been so much more death because Batman won't kill. But also I understand his code, right? He is trying to differentiate himself from these crazy people. And like this scene at the end of the movie really like locks it in.
Yeah, and we talked about this in Under the Red Hood, whether it be the adaptation, like the actual comic or the adaptation, that line from Jason, it rings true. He's like, I'm not telling you to kill everyone. I'm just telling you him because he took me away from you. Like that line hits because it's one of the moments where you're like, he's not wrong. Like it's one of the few times. It's like when Magneto does something, he's like, oh man, kill all these humans. I'm like, he's not wrong. They are extremely
X-Men
racist.
97. Yeah. One of the best X-Men anything ever. And that after the Genosha scene, I won't ruin it, but like Magneto's right. I'm on his side. I want it on every shirt.
Magneto is always right.
Always.
We could use some more Magneto currently.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
As the Jew in the room? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely 110%.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to quiz time. We actually have a question this week, one I pulled out. It was very interesting to me. A piece of trivia I found out. So the question is, what character reprises their role from I said character specifically. If you could get the actor, you get bonus points. What character reprises their role from the hit Fox TV series Gotham in this film? Matt, we'll start with you.
Oh, Gotham. Oh, I had the IMDb up earlier, but I closed it because, of course, I don't want to cheat. But I was looking at the cast, and now I don't got it.
It's one of the Peyton lists, right?
Yes.
The adult one, not the Disney one.
Yes.
Yeah.
What character do they play?
I don't remember.
God. Ivy?
Yes.
Is that who she played?
Ivy.
Yes.
She was also Ivy in Gotham.
Yes, she was also Gotham's Ivy. She was like, whenever she got randomly aged up in that series.
Yeah.
When the series was like, fuck it, let's just get crazy now. Who cares?
Yeah. Nobody's watching anyway.
That series was always crazy.
Everyone who's watching it was like,
somehow it got even crazier.
Okay. I'm down, I guess. Yeah. Guy, yeah, you want to talk about Tommy Elliott in that, man. He's good in that too. Jesus. Not in this, unfortunately. All right, so that is quiz time. Homeroom. Matt, we'll start with you. What are your final thoughts on 2019's Batman Hush?
I think the movie as a whole is entertaining. I think it's worth a watch. I think that if you are a fan of the original graphic novel, that it is going to disappoint a little. But I think if you've not read the original Hush and you're still here, please go read it anyway. But I think that the movie ultimately gets a lot right, but the biggest things it gets wrong would keep me from ever rewatching it. I enjoy my time with it, but like the change of the reveal at the end, you know, the way they did the Riddler dirty in this, and some other things, you know, having Barbara in for literally a scene for no reason, just to check notes to fill a quota, just didn't make sense to me. But all in all, I think it's a solid adaptation. It's not perfect, but I think there are far worse than this one. And I think that the reason it's strong is because of the incredible cast and writing, but for sure the voice cast is what makes it happen. Specifically, Bruce and Selena, I think, are the reason this film is as good as it is.
Sly, final thoughts?
I am usually one to advocate for seeing a source material before an adaptation. However, I think this specifically, if you have been entrenched in the DCAMU, if you watch this before reading the storyline, I think you will enjoy this movie a lot. And then you can read the book and see how it's done so much better. I think that would be a really interesting way to experience the story. I think it's definitely worth a watch. It's very solidly done. It does kind of play into this trope of the third act being so convoluted if you don't know the source material, because it's relying on people having read the book in order to trick them with the reveal. So I don't know how much that third act would hold up without knowing the full storyline. And yeah, I think it's a solid movie. It's definitely worth a watch, but you lose out on so much if this is your only exposure to it. Definitely check out the graphic novel. It's like the whole clayface as Jason, spoiler alert again if you haven't read this, is such a like prevalent thing that is called back to in so many pieces of media, that like this is such a foundational storyline within comics specifically because of how referential because of how referential other things are to this storyline specifically. So definitely one of the like must check out storylines. And if you do it in this movie form, definitely do it in the graphic novel form as well. And Carlos, you said earlier it's one of the condensed series that DC is doing right now.
These compact ones, $10.
I love the
Small.
compact series.
Yeah. You know, like the pages don't look amazing, but again, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be $10. You know, for me, I'm using it as like when I buy a lot of these is to replace a lot of the comics that got stolen when I had to break it a few years back. But yeah, it's on there. There's a bunch of great series as well. I'll shout about it anytime we do one of the movies that happen to have one on there because I highly recommend them. Again, we're not sponsored by DC, but we're a DC podcast, and why not? You know, at this point, talk about it. Yeah, for me, I really enjoyed the film. I think it's a great last outing for Batman, a very personal outing, as our last, solo Batman thing before the end of this universe. I think it works really well. As an adaptation, I think initially where the Riddler thing was really cool, the second the movie ended and I got the more emotional payoff, with Catwoman and Batman saying, I started thinking about Riddler the more. I was like, is it though? Like, I do truly love that character of Tommy Elliott and what he brings to the Bat family, the Bat universe, and the struggles that Batman and Selina in subsequent, years afterwards have against Tommy specifically. And his just insane nature and like the it's just beautifully like rich and like surprisingly really well done. Again, we talked about this at the top of the show. I don't know where the hate comes for, in recent years for this specific storyline. I think it's really good. I recommend you read it. I recommend you watch it. I actually will recommend, if you haven't read it and you're if you watch a lot of DCAMU, like Sly said, watch the movie first because the book is better. But in this like finite universe that we have, I think it's serviceable, with the, Riddler reveal at the end. It could have been better, but I don't know what that movie, like how long is that movie? If we do have some
this
flashbacks.
Would have to been like a feature length,
yeah, you would have to, right? Because you need those flashbacks to kind of give the audience who's just get introduced to Tommy Elliott, like, oh my god, this is his best friend.
It's not even a tight 90. It's a tight 81.
Like, oh, okay, yeah. Maybe then we could use the 20 minutes. Yeah, that actually wouldn't that be 20 minutes of backstory? Yeah, it would have been better. 100%.
I feel like this could have been a great 100-minute film. Doing the true Tommy storyline, I think would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think it works, and I think, although where I had a lot of fun with this, and I do recommend this movie, there are some things like the Tommy Elliott thing that don't work, and I think it's okay. It's really interesting that like this movie is so capable on its own, and at the same time, it can be disappointing for longtime fans of the storyline. At the same point, it's really interesting dichotomy to have with this movie. Because it's not the worst thing, but it's like, oh, it could be so much better. It is interesting. I do highly recommend it. But yeah, that's our thoughts. Before we head off to the show, want to let our students know you guys have homework next week, which is Wonder Woman Bloodlines. We got a special guest for that one as well. And before we leave, we're going to give go around the horn and everyone shout out their stuff. We'll start with our special guest lecturer, Matt. Where can people find you?
First, I just want to thank you for having me. I'm a fan of the show for a while. You had a friend of mine from my podcast network, Case, on not that long ago. I love the show. I mean, I've been a super fan of Sly since the day I met them. So, like anything Sly does, I'm
fan of you since the day I met
Sly is the best.
There you go. But no, as I was saying before, like I've always revolved around Point of Progress and have guested on other stuff and love your work, and so I'm so stoked to be here. As for me, the best place to find me on social media is Blue Sky. I'm djstormageddon.com. That URL also takes you to my Linktree, which has both of my podcasts, my merch store, the Patreon for fun and games, because we are Patreon funded. And please check out all my stuff. If you want to throw DC stuff at me, again, Blue Sky is the best. I'm on Instagram, but I don't use it as much as Blue Sky, and fuck Twitter, fuck Elon Musk. Never using that again. What else? I think that's really it. Like I said, fun and games, broad topic-based discussion, video game podcast, and then Reignite more focused on not only the stories we tell, but the thing about Reignite is we created Shepard as if we were Commander Shepard and then discussed why we made the choices we made. And more importantly, who we romanced and why, because that's all we really care about in Mass Effect is which aliens we get to smooch. And it's basically the same thing for the Dragon Age series. We're currently playing through Dragon Age 2, and some of the most fun we've had is discussing who our Hawk will flirt with. So if that kind of stuff interests you, you should go check it out. And that's it for me.
Yeah, links will be below as always. Sly, where can people find you?
You could find me at the movie theater because the banner that popped up on IMDb while I had the Hush page pulled up during this recording was for a film called Jane Austen Wrecked My Life, which I know nothing about, but now feel like I must see it. You can also find me live on TikTok every Sunday at CycloneMC, where I'm chatting with my co-host JJ about all things network television, fandom, the relationship between dramaturgy and being fans of media, all that good stuff. Great fun, nerdy Spanish conversations over there. And you can find me on Point Progress. I'm here. We're doing things. As we're recording, we should probably be planning Summer Games Fest and etc. content. So maybe you'll see things for that. Maybe you won't. Who knows?
I'm sure you'll see some stuff for that. Whether maybe not live since we all got real people jobs now, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? I think literally now every one of us has real people jobs. It is very funny now. For Point of Progress stuff.
By the time this posts, go check out the replays of our not live coverage of Summer Games Fest.
Yes, exactly. And go back to see the 6-1 Indie Showcase, our reactions to that.
Yeah. That claps. So good.
God, so goddamn good. So proud of those guys.
Yeah.
But for me, you can find me here, youtube.com/Point of Progress. If you're watching the video version, of course, I always say go to the audio version, your favorite podcast service of choice. Like, subscribe, share, all that jazz, and vice versa. If you're listening, come over to the video side, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. It helps us out as we grow Point in Progress little by little. As well, by the time this post, I don't know if we'll have an episode live yet, but I am starting off It's Not a Loop season 3, which is not a loop, it's Control. That's my Remedy playthrough series. As I go through the Remedy verse for the very first time, this is my first time playing Control. Very excited to jump into the oldest house and see what crazy shit happens. I'm a big fan already of this universe after playing Alan Wake Remastered, Alan Wake American Nightmare, and Quantum Break. You can see those season 1 and season 2 of those series on our channel over there, youtube.com/Point of Progress. And then for my personal stuff, you can check out youtube.com/Nerdaday, where every once in a while, I want to make it more often. I would like to break down the news and what's going on in gaming or entertainment in general like that, and kind of give you my opinions in a short form, podcast set. But that is it for us. Matt, thank you so much for joining us again. It's been a pleasure, and finally getting to talk to you in this podcast sphere that we have.
Thanks for having me. I'll come back anytime. I'm sure you've got lots of other movies to cover, and
oh yeah,
I'm always happy to come and chat. And it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So until next time, class is dismissed.
Bye, folks.